Yo, what up everybody, it's your boy NyceOne. Welcome to the Nintendo Power Zone, and today we're going to go ahead and complete Final Fantasy X. This is not a live stream, this is actually a post-play analysis. I've seen a lot of videos showcasing how to beat this game, and the strategy I came up with was unlike any other that I saw online, but I also want to go ahead and do this analysis simply because this was one of the first live streams we did on the channel. And I really, I just wanted to finish this game off and have you guys see what I did to go ahead and beat this game. If you guys hear a little jangling in the background, my dogs are in the room with me. Yeah, so it is what it is. So I'm just going to showcase everything that we do to beat this particular boss. This is the Jecht fight, which is one of the most interesting boss fights in the game. He has a lot of powers, but you can get around them. And a lot of what I did ends up happening here. There's a lot of post-game, well, not really post-game, but there's a lot of powering up I do here at the very last minute that I can only do at this juncture of the game. So there are things I'm going to do here when I'm trying to get all these crystals. There are a few crystals here that I utilize in order to just power up one specific character who will become integral in this upcoming fight with Jecht. Aside from that, the Jecht fight, man, there's just a nice little ending to it, and the characters just get wrapped up so well. Although I will say this spinning room is so annoying. This is one of the first things. Here's the skill sphere. I think I'm going to utilize that pretty well here. I'm going to give Tidus a mental break, which would make Jecht more susceptible to magic attacks, which are going to be kind of the crux of this overall strategy that I'm trying to do. But first we have to obtain all these crystals, which, let me tell you, is really annoying. And then the fact that you get sent into a battle every time. But I have upgraded Auron's skill tree so that he has Flee as well, and he also has First Strike, which is why Auron is always the first character to make a move in this particular juncture for me. All these useless, weapons at this point, I don't have any use for them, which is kind of hilarious but true. It is what it is, guys. Let me tell you, it took me forever to realize that you can kind of see where the crystals are going to land. I kept just running around willy-nilly. But by this point, you can see that I've kind of figured it out. So this white magic sphere is really important in my strategy, because with it, I'm going to be able to teach Lulu Holy, which is one of the best attacks in the game. So I'm going to utilize that to its fullest. Currently, I have two characters that have the ability Holy. One being Riku, which I won't use in this battle, and the other being Yuna, because Yuna casts Holy the most effectively, followed by Lulu. At this point for me, I'm not sure about Kimahri, specifically because I didn't use Kimahri throughout this entire game. He has the lowest HP out of all my characters. I haven't even really moved him out of his own skill, his sphere grid. He hasn't entered anybody else's sphere grid, really. Just because I'm not a big fan of, Kimahri. His overdrive doesn't really do anything for me. So it is what it is here. So now we've got Lulu equipped with that specific sphere, and I'm going to give her one more upgrade. It's going to be the last upgrade I give her. And I'm going to get an attribute sphere, which, all these spheres you'll get will always be the same. The order you may get them in is a little bit different, but at least for me, this is this last minute buffing I'm going to be able to do for these particular characters. And it is what it is. Also, I currently have Lulu equipped with a Cactuar doll. And what I love about this specific doll is that it reduces her MP points cost by 50%. So she's going to be able to spam that Holy that I just gave her relatively easily. There are a couple things you want to have before you engage in this boss fight. One of those things is Stoneproof gear, which is kind of tedious to obtain, but luckily I have one character equipped with it, and that would be Auron, and that means I have at least one character who isn't susceptible to that immediate death that Jecht will pull out in this particular fight. Which, oh my god, let me tell you, I have gotten game overs on this battle simply because he was stoning the bloody hell out of me. So yeah, we've got the attribute sphere, and we're going to go ahead and just utilize that to give Lulu a little bit more HP so that she, gets into the 3000s, because currently she's at like 2880 at this point. So just giving her a little bit more HP means she can take a little bit more damage, which makes her far more useful. Alright, so we've gotten all 10 crystals, and we're going to go ahead and engage in this Jecht fight after we watch this 5-minute cutscene. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give my thoughts on this cutscene, because this is it. This is the emotional crux for Tidus. He's coming into contact with his actual father. This isn't Sin anymore. Even though Jecht is Sin, this is really Tidus coming to terms with his father. And then we have the whole Oedipal situation here, where Tidus is tasked with having to kill his father. Man, Freud would have a field day with this. And this has all been building. Tidus's love/hatred of his father has been a major focal point of this particular game. Even though I would venture to say that Tidus isn't the actual hero of the story, I would go on to say that Yuna is really the hero of the story. It's really her story more than it is Tidus's. We're just seeing things through Tidus's eyes. Now, somebody has to give me some info. Did the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie come out before this game or after? Because, man, does Jecht look a whole lot like Jack Sparrow. This whole interaction, I just love it, man. It's one of the few moments in the game where the voice acting truly sells, like, the actual emotion. When Tidus tells Jecht that he hates him, first off, it's a little heartbreaking because, to an extent, Tidus does hate him. But in reality, he's grown to love and understand Jecht throughout this journey. A journey that Jecht himself has had. They've been on parallel paths almost. And now they're coming to a head with one another. So, you start to see that Tidus has appreciated the man that Jecht eventually became. It's actually really deep stuff for an RPG, and I remember thinking this to myself 20 years ago when this game came out. And it's crazy to think that it's been damn near 20 years. That right there, that I hate you. But he's like on the verge of tears. Like, there's real good delivery there, man.
You know what you have to do.
The great thing about this, man, is that I beat this game, I guess it would be 19 years ago. Or, no, 18 years ago. So now I'm coming back to it. I had really forgotten a lot of stuff that this game entailed. But these moments, like, there are a few moments like this in the game, and this is one of the most powerful in my opinion. Just these two characters who have never been able to see eye to eye, but you can tell that deep down they do in fact love each other. It's just a thing, man. I don't know what to say, man. Like, I have a good relationship with my dad, so I don't really understand where Tidus is coming from. But look, he's literally on the verge of tears. And Jecht is very stoic in this moment. But here, he's about to have a character break. Like, right here. He's about to break character and say, I won't be able to control myself.
Let's go.
Oh, we actually passed that part. That's my fault. Yeah, but that breaking character is saying, I won't be able to control myself. And then Tidus just has to interrupt him like, no, don't ruin this image I have of you right now, or I won't be able to fight you. That's what Tidus is kind of getting at in that moment. Like, I can't fight you if I start to feel more emotion for you. But it's just Tidus in denial because, look, even then, he's still trying to save Jecht. And I'm just going to be quiet for just a minute. Because I love this part of the cutscene. Even though this cutscene is longer than I would like it to be. Alright, so yeah, we're finally getting into this battle after 10 minutes of recording. So there are a few things I'm going to do right off the bat. I'm going to start with Mental Break with Aeon. Simply because that's going to reduce Jecht's ability to take magic attacks, which is going to be really important in my particular strategy. Now, a lot of the videos I saw online like to focus on the pagodas, the left and the right pagodas. My strategy is pretty much just an all-out assault on Jecht himself. So with Tidus, I'm going to go ahead and cast Protect. I'm going to protect himself, I'm going to protect Yuna, I'm going to protect Aeon. I'm going to do them all at different intervals, but it's important that you protect your characters because Jecht does a lot of physical damage. He does have a few magic abilities, but for the most part, he's going to be hitting you physically. Now, my Tidus has a blade that has the counterattack, so that's why he went ahead and made that move. Counterattack has been pretty helpful in earlier parts of the game. I probably could have switched to a better sword, but I didn't really find it necessary at this point. Now, here's the thing. Jecht is going to heal himself repeatedly throughout this battle, but he can only heal himself about 3,000 points at a time. So, the goal for me here is to do more damage than he can heal all at once, which is why the attacks Holy will be really useful. The next thing I'm going to cast with Tidus is Hastega. I want all my characters to be able to attack as quickly as possible, but with the pagodas constantly healing Jecht, I'm always going to be at a slight disadvantage. It's not like earlier battles in the game where you could attack with each character one by one before the boss got a turn. Now, certain moves like Delay Buster will work, but I'm not really going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on 2 attackers and 1 healer for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and hit with that Mental Break. Here's a problem, is the pagodas will actually cure the status. So I'm going to have to keep trying to use Mental Break as much as possible. I do think at some point in the strategy I abandon it and just go for an all-out assault. But from here on out, I'm going to be using Holy. Now, Holy has a large cost for you, and it's 85. So I hope by the time you engage in this battle, you have things like elixirs and ether. Another thing that Jecht can do is he can cast Osmosis, which removes all the MP from a specific character. And this is his overdrive. I am saving... Tidus can actually talk to Jecht in the course of this battle, and that will reduce the overdrive. But part of my strategy here is to actually let him do that first move, because I want to save that overdrive reduction for later. So I'm going to use Remedy because he casts Darkness and he can cast Zombie when he does his overdrive. Both of those things can truly devastate your team, and I've gotten many game overs on this boss battle because of Zombie and Petrify. But right now I don't have to worry about at least Aeon getting petrified because he is equipped with Stoneproof armor. He is unfortunately the only character I could do that with. So when you cast, or when you hit for Mental Break, when you cast Holy, it usually max damages. But right now, since there is no Mental Break on Jecht, it only did 9,012 damage. But that's still good enough to do what I'm attempting to do here. We're going to swap Aeon out for Lulu, and we're going to go ahead and use Holy with her. Now you saw that her Holy usage only has 43, and that's because of that Cactuar doll that she has. It actually reduces her MP cost by half, which is really helpful because that means I can spam the crap out of Holy with her, which I can't do with Yuna at this point. So we're going to go ahead and cast Protect on her, and just hope for the best. Now the Jecht Beam just jacked Tidus up, but I actually prefer the fact that it killed him over it casting Stone, because if you get hit with Stone twice, you actually lose that character permanently, which means you'll be trying to attack with 2 characters, which is, you're not going to beat this battle with only 2 characters. So the way I see it, you need 1 healer and 2 attackers, and that's kind of the strategy that I'm going with. I haven't really seen other people utilize this strategy. My strategy isn't really much of a strategy. It's kind of just like a full-on head-on assault, ignoring the pagodas. Now the reason I ignore the pagodas is depending on the amount of damage it costs to stop the pagodas, that's how much damage it's going to take to do it multiple times. So if you aren't hitting for 9,999, let's say you use like an Aeon to attack, and your Aeon does like 25,000 damage. That would be what my Bahamut can typically do. That means I would have to do 25,000 damage on each pagoda before I could get them to stop again, which is, it's just tedious and pointless. I didn't see the need for that. I just figured I can do more damage to Jecht at any given point in time than he can particularly heal. So this is the first time that I'm going to go ahead and stop Jecht from using his overdrive. At this point I kind of need it because my characters are all at pretty low HP right now. So I'm going to go ahead and cast a Mega Potion here. And that's going to help me out in the long run while also stopping this overdrive. Which means I'll get an extra hit in. And like I said, yes, he is going to keep healing himself. But what you have to remember is he can only do 3,000 damage at a time. And since I have two characters that can cast Holy, I'm doing at least 17,000 damage per attack. So, with two characters. So I'm not really worried about him healing 3,000 at this point. Yeah, it's just going to prolong the battle ever so slightly, but not by much. And because I've taken the focus off the pagodas, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, just those pagodas are a pain in the butt, and because they're, you know, the amount of damage you can do to them can increase and increase and increase. It just felt pointless. So I realized that because Tidus died, he didn't have haste anymore, and I had yet to cast haste on Lulu. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that Hestega out there one more time. Now it looks like I have two attacks with Yuna back to back. So you best believe I'm going to try to use Holy, but actually ran out of MP. So I'm going to have to go ahead and toss out my first Ether. Yeah, I would have loved to have thrown one more Holy out there and just do some big damage. And you see here that I thought about it, but I couldn't. So I think I'm actually going to cast Protect on Tidus at this point. And then I'll just have Tidus, I believe, throw out another Ether at her. Or her first Ether, as I've yet to use one. Now, what I should have done is I should have thrown out that Mental Break. Look at that. Second guessing myself. I did. Because I saw that Yuna was up next. So, using that Mental Break, I just reduced his ability to take magic damage. So, I believe this is going to max damage right here. Max damage obviously being 9,999. And yep, there it is. Max damage. That was a good hit. So, Tidus is back up. So, I'm going to go ahead and give out that Ether. And now Yuna's at a point where she can cast Holy again. The unfortunate part about this is I'm going to have to give her another Ether pretty much after this attack. Yeah, just the cost of Holy is really high. 85 magic points. It sucks. Look at that. It left me with 83. Just 2 points shy of being able to double cast it. It's really painful. So, I'm at a point now where I really have to start thinking about healing my characters. Not Tidus and Lulu so much as they're pretty close to max HP. But Yuna is kind of the linchpin of my attack plan, so I kind of need her to be alive. You can see that I'm having like an internal debate with myself as to whether or not to use a Mega Potion. Which is actually pretty funny. I really wish Yuna had more HP. I didn't take her. I took her down Riku's skill tree because Riku was the closest to Holy at that point when I got to that. Alright, so this is important right here because at this point I am stopping Jecht's overdrive. And the timing on this is really linchpin because I am timing it based on the fact that I am about to beat his first form with this Holy right here. Now look at that. I've beaten his first Holy, I've beaten his first form, but I've also stopped the overdrive. Now, if I hadn't done this, he would have immediately used his overdrive in his second form, which is really devastating because that overdrive is strong enough to kill all three of these party members currently. And I found that out through experience because, yeah, I suck. So, because of that, I was able to summon, and this is the major linchpin of this victory. I have Yojimbo as a summon. Now, Yojimbo is a secret Aeon that's exclusive to the international versions and this HD remastered version. Now, Yojimbo, he had a high cost to get, and you have to pay him per attack. But he is one of the best summons in the whole game. So, I'm not really going to mess around. He has at least 4 attacks, and I don't want to mess around with his weaker attacks. So I'm giving him 10,000 so that he does bigger damage immediately. You see, because I stopped Jecht's overdrive at the end of the last phase, he's not utilizing it here. And his overdrive could kill Yojimbo. But because it hasn't, I'm able to utilize Yojimbo more than once. So I'm going to give him another 10,000, and he's going to do the Wakizashi again. Now, what's crazy to me is that Yojimbo takes a physical hit, which had me freaking out. Because it's like, oh no. Now, this is the part of the battle that freaked me out the most, is that he swung and missed Yojimbo, which gave me one more shot. So I just threw out another 10,000 coins or dollars or whatever it's called in this game, Gil. And this is what freaked me out. He did a different move, one that I hadn't seen yet, the Zanmoto, which is a one-hit kill essentially. Because once he does this, Jecht is done. This instantly won the battle for me. I have never seen this strategy online, not to this degree, and yeah, it's a little bit of a cheap way to win. I used the secrets Aeon, one that isn't in the base version of the game. But man, this is the HD remastered / international version. I have this opportunity. I'm going to use it to the fullest. So yeah. And plus, he's the only secret Aeon I found. And look at this. Victory guaranteed. Now, this is how I beat it. I know there are definitely other ways, especially if you're playing it on the traditional PS2 version, or if you're just a better RPG player than I am. But yeah, this was my strategy. I hadn't really seen anything similar to it online, but this is how I did it. Obviously, you can take your feelings of how I did this and apply them as you want to. Oh man, this is the cutscene that kind of just breaks me down. It's just Tidus accepting his father accepting him, while even still throwing out a little shot. But it comes from a good place this time. See, up until this point, Jecht has been something that Tidus has never lived up to. He's never lived up to the Jecht shot. He's never lived up to the great player, blitzball player that Jecht was. And it looked like Jecht became a better person throughout the course of the journey. I would venture to say that Jecht makes larger strides in his personality than Tidus does. Tidus is relatively unwavering in his views of the way things are and should be. But Jecht, he, in his time in Spira, learned to become a more compassionate human being. And Tidus didn't need that. Tidus was already compassionate to a degree. He was a little whiny and a little selfish in the early parts of the game, but he didn't have to build himself up as much as Jecht did. So you could say that Jecht has more personal growth than Tidus does throughout the course of this game. And I wouldn't disagree with you in the slightest.
Call them!
Call us!
And Jecht just finally goes down, man. That's... Just love how they do that little cutaway to Tidus' eyes. And look at that. There's just the immense wave of sadness that hits him. And it's still not over. There's still one more thing to do. They have to beat you, Yevon.
Yes.
But look at Tidus. He's just broken. Because end of the day, that was his dad. That was his dad. And as much as he hated the idea of his father, you could see that Tidus needed him around, and Jecht wasn't, because he was here in Spira. But it's nice that he got closure. That closure is there. They've accepted each other, but it took death to bring that like moment of reconciliation with one another. But guys, yeah, this has been my strategy on how to beat Jecht. We're gonna end this video after this like cutscene, and we're gonna come back to the Yu Yevon fight a little bit later. Hopefully, I'll have it up later tonight. But I really want to get this video up simply because I wanted to just showcase the way that I ended up beating Jecht. Now, it's a little bit unorthodox, and some may call it cheating because I used the secret Aeon. I don't care. This is my story. This is the way I played the game. And yeah, I got the same amount of enjoyment out of it that I got 18 years ago when the game first released. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of your hair before I let you go. Let me hit you up with the social media links. You can hit me up on Twitter at NyceOne983, and you can email me at NyceOne983@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/NintendoPowerZone. If you're a fan of the Nintendo Power Zone podcast, you can always download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, stream new episodes on Stitcher Radio. But if you want to watch the show live, you can check us out right here on YouTube, youtube.com/NintendoPowerZone. Thank you guys so much for watching this Nintendo Power Zone plays, and catch you on the flip side. Deuces.